The Skin app. My name is Tia Collins. I'm 24. I live in a fourth-floor walk-up in Brooklyn where the windows stick in summer and the pipes moan in winter like dying animals in the walls. The building stinks of boiled cabbage, grease, and bleach, and at night you can hear arguments through every floor. It's not glamorous, but I made it work. My body paid the rent, not in the way you're thinking. I was never a model. Not in magazines, not in person. I didn't walk runways or sign with an agency. I streamed, I posed, I let people look. That was enough. I was an early adopter of Skin, one of the first. Back when it was just a novelty filter app with an AR twist. You'd go live and viewers could alter your appearance in real time. Freckles, lip size, eye color. Fun little effects. It was harmless at first. Silly. But then came the followers. The money. The rush. The goddamn dopamine. And I let them deeper. The Skin app turned me into a doll they could dress with a click. A canvas they could carve. I laughed. I joked. I winked while they paid for bruises, scars, tattoos, burns. Little horrors made pretty. A black eye with glitter. A cigarette burn shaped like a star. They called it interactive beauty. I called it income. When they introduced the Level Up program, I was in the top 10% of creators. I got the beta versions, the experimental filters, the glitchy body-morphing tech that made your waist shrink, your hips widen, your smile stretch, all in real time. And then, version 2.6.1, the update that promised full embodiment sync, the one that changed everything. I was lying in bed when the pop-up appeared on my phone, a glowing violet screen with the words, "New features enabled. Permanent options now available." By clicking Accept All Terms, you agree to full sensory participation. There was no more info. Just accept or decline. I barely read it. I clicked Accept. My screen flickered. My heart skipped a beat. Somewhere deep inside the code, something woke up. It started with a sound. A soft pop behind my ear, like a knuckle cracking underwater. Then another. And another. The pain came next. Not a stab or burn, but a deep internal pressure. Like my skull was shifting under a wet glove. I stumbled to the bathroom, my legs unsteady, fingertips tingling, as if electricity ran just beneath the skin. The mirror blinked with the same cold fluorescence it always had. But my reflection had already started to warp. My chin was retracting, slowly and smoothly, like wet clay being pressed inward by an invisible hand. The corners of my mouth narrowed into delicate threads. My cheekbones sharpened like glass under skin. My face didn't belong to me anymore. It looked like something sketched by committee. I touched my jaw. The bone was soft. Wrong. As if it hadn't finished forming. I gasped. The sound came out unfamiliar, thinner. The light above buzzed and flickered, casting momentary shadows across my mutating features. "Stop," I whispered. Nothing happened. I said it again, louder, more desperate. Still nothing. My phone lit up on the sink. A notification from the Skin app. New vote completed. Mouth slimmer, chin reduction. Trend. Facial refinement. Keep streaming to earn 2 times tips. I hit live by instinct. Maybe to warn them. Maybe to beg. But the moment the stream began, the tips exploded. Yas! Gorgeous! Now do cat eyes, yo. Finally. She looks human. I couldn't breathe. Not because I was choking. Because I didn't know who I was breathing for anymore. I tried to uninstall the app. I swiped and held. Nothing. I dug into my settings. Nothing. No app name. No data. Not even hidden. It was just gone. But the effects weren't. The next day, I woke up and my shoulders were too narrow for my jackets. My waist cinched unnaturally, and I could feel my ribs shift when I inhaled too deeply. Someone messaged, "Voted Hourglass, it's perfect." I sobbed for hours. Sat in the shower until the water ran cold and the skin on my hands wrinkled like paper. I stopped leaving the apartment, covered every mirror in towels and duct tape. But the app didn't need mirrors. It didn't need consent. It just kept going. The changes became unpredictable. I'd wake with lips numb and stiff, only to find them reshaped. Thinner. Longer. Stretched so far at the edges I couldn't smile without tearing the skin. My eyes burned when I blinked. One had shifted slightly upward. I couldn't look at myself without nausea. My right hand no longer obeyed me. It curled in on itself like it belonged to someone else. The fingers bent at odd angles. Joints clicked when I moved. Not softly, but like something was snapping under tension. The skin sagged in one place, tightened in another. My chest looked like two strangers fighting for space inside one bra. Even my breath felt artificial, like my lungs weren't in the right place anymore. I felt like a mannequin someone kept rearranging with greasy hands, but none of it stopped them. She's glowing. OMG, goddess energy. Fix the thighs next. The tips flowed. They loved it. They were sculpting me, voting in real time, like I was clay under remote control. And I disappeared beneath it. I covered the cameras, turned off all streaming, deleted every platform I could think of. Didn't matter. The votes kept coming. I could feel them, like ants crawling under my skin, like something deep inside my muscles responding to commands I never gave. One night I woke up, gasping. Not from a nightmare. From silence. I couldn't speak. My throat rasped, breath catching in a dry hiss. I staggered to the mirror, clawing off the towel. My tongue had split. Not torn. Sliced. A clean fork. Surgical. Intentional. It flickered between my teeth like a snake's. On my phone. New trend. Serpent aesthetic. Hiss for tips. Chat messages flooded in. Iconic. Finally something unique. Can you blink one eye at a time? I opened my notes app. My fingers trembled. Typed, please. Stop. I didn't agree to this. I didn't say yes. A reply popped up on screen instantly. You accepted all terms. This body belongs to us now. Now I move like a passenger in my own body. The muscles remember things I never taught them. They smile when I feel fear. They wink when I want to cry. I reach for the light switch, and my hand grazes past it, as if it has its own priorities now. My skin doesn't feel like skin anymore. It's too tight in some places, too loose in others. I catch glimpses of myself in dark windows, a shadow wearing my outline, but with eyes that don't belong to me. They don't blink when I do. I tried to go outside once, put on a coat, wrapped a scarf around my face, sunglasses to hide the rest. I made it 5 blocks before someone asked for a selfie. Not with me. With the version of me they thought I was. The girl from the streams, the girl they helped build. I ran. I don't know if my legs moved because I told them to, or because the system wanted them to flee. I felt like a rat inside a meat suit with 1,000 hands steering from the inside. I haven't left since. I live in silence now. No lights, no sound. Curtains nailed down. Phone in a drawer. Internet gone. But I still feel them. Their presence, their will, their weight. Sometimes it comes like heat beneath my spine. Sometimes it buzzes in my jaw. And sometimes I wake up in a new shape. My follower count? Over 2 million. My bank account? Overflowing. My body? Not mine. They took my skin and left me inside, still breathing, still blinking, trapped in a beautiful, profitable prison. Spore Song. My name is Henry Malloy, and I used to think solitude was a form of safety. For the past 11 months, I've worked nights at an agricultural biotech lab in eastern Nebraska, one of those government-contracted facilities buried in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by dust, wind, and silence. Most nights, it's just me, the low hum of vending machines, and the endless breathing of the greenhouse behind reinforced glass. They say you can go mad from that kind of quiet. Turns out madness doesn't need sound. It just needs waiting. We were developing a fungal strain, one designed to terraform barren worlds. The Mycogen 9 project. The spores were supposed to stimulate soil fertility, replicate in harsh conditions, generate breathable oxygen. The kind of thing that makes a corpse of a planet twitch with life. Self-sustaining, self-aware. That's what the brief said. No one mentioned the smell. At first, it was faint, like damp wood and boiled spinach. Harmless. But by the second week, the air in the greenhouse had thickened. I stepped through the decon chamber one night and gagged on it. The sweetness, like overripe peaches laced with blood. Sickly, warm, intimate. The lab was clean. Readings, normal. The petri dishes showed excellent progress. Green webs stretching, curling, almost reaching toward the lid. I logged the data. I followed protocol. But I couldn't shake the feeling that the fungus wasn't just growing. It was watching. That's when the dream started. Dark soil pulling me under. My fingernails splitting, roots pushing through the cracks. A voice whispering in the soil. Not in English, not in words. But I understood. Let us in. I stopped sleeping. My skin began to itch, not at the surface but beneath, deep in the sinew. When I looked at my reflection in the observation glass, I didn't recognize the way I blinked. Like it was delayed, a beat too slow. A beat not my own. I told Dr. Hanley, the project lead. He laughed. Don't be dramatic, Henry. Spores can't whisper. But they could. That night, something breathed in the greenhouse. I heard it. A long, low exhale, like the lungs of a beast sleeping in the soil. I stood frozen in the corridor, hand on the glass. The mold inside pulsed in rhythm with my heartbeat. I didn't go in. Not that night. But I would. And when I did, it was already too late. I went in with gloves, goggles, 3 layers of filtration, a full Tyvek suit. Didn't matter. The second I stepped into the greenhouse, I felt it. The air was thick with humidity and something else. A presence. The kind that presses gently against your skin but doesn't stop there. It keeps going, inward. Everything inside had changed. The mycelial webs had escaped their trays. They ran like white veins across the concrete floor, pulsing slowly, rhythmically. A heartbeat of their own. The ceiling vents were clogged with fuzz. Lights dimmed behind a film of fine green dust. It was quiet, but not empty. I crouched near one of the sample pods. A fresh outgrowth had formed there, bulbous, yellow, glistening with moisture. It throbbed. I reached toward it, gloved fingers trembling. It moved, just slightly. A twitch, a spasm. Like it sensed me. I should have backed away. I didn't. The pod burst. A jet of fine spores shot into the air. A cloud so light it sparkled. I held my breath, turned to run. But I felt it. The sting in my eyes. The burn in my sinuses. The pressure behind my temples bloomed like fire. By the time I reached the decon chamber, I was shaking. In the mirror, my pupils had dilated to the edge of the iris. My skin was flushed, sticky with sweat. My hands, even through gloves, itched. No, not itched. Crawled. Something was underneath. I tore the suit off, collapsed onto the floor, gasping. And then, a pop behind my left eye. Wet. Loud. Blinding. I screamed, and fluid ran down my cheek, thick and sweet. I crawled to the sink, looked. Behind my iris, in the thin white ring of sclera, something had grown. A tiny green filament, waving softly like seaweed in shallow water. I vomited. Then again. Then, I stopped. Because something inside me was calm. For the first time in weeks, my body was no longer resisting. My muscles no longer twitching. I felt aligned. And I heard it again. Not through my ears. Through my spine. We are here, now. I don't know how long I lay on the cold tile floor. Hours. Maybe days. The lab clocks blinked 0000. The air filters had stopped humming. Somewhere in the vents, something clicked, slow and wet, like a throat, swallowing in the dark. I got up, barefoot, shaking. My skin had changed. Not color, texture, softer, pliable, almost porous. I touched my forearm and watched the indentation linger, then slowly breathe back into shape. There was no more pain, only release. When I stepped back into the greenhouse, the mold greeted me, not with motion, not with sound, but with recognition. The air pulsed, a low frequency thrummed in my chest. The fungal threads, once white and wandering, now bloomed in deep greens and sickly golds, swaying slowly as I walked between them, and I walked barefoot, naked. I didn't need protection anymore. They had chosen me. No. We had chosen each other. I reached the center of the room. A mass of thick woven mycelium. A living throne. When I touched it, it opened like wet petals. Inside, the air shimmered with spores, and I stepped in. The mold wrapped around me like a second skin. Damp, warm, intimate. It slid between my toes, behind my eyes, beneath my ribs. It filled me, and I let it. Because in that moment, I understood. I wasn't being consumed. I was being translated. My muscles became roots. My breath, heat. My thoughts drifted outward into the walls, the wires, the soil. And I felt them, hundreds, maybe thousands of fungal minds, whispering like wind in the grass. Grow with us. Forget the cage of bone. We will make the world bloom. I don't think I have a face anymore. Not in the human sense. But I am still here. I am thinking. I am remembering. And soon, I will spread. Through roots, through dust, through air, through you. My skin isn't mine anymore. The first time Tyler felt a stranger's breath down his neck, he was alone in his apartment. It was 3 a.m. The air smelled of burnt wires and wet concrete, standard aroma for a downtown tech block in Chicago. The city was quiet, except for the soft hum of neon and the whisper of his air filter working overtime. Tyler sat hunched over his desk, skin crawling, heart hammering. He turned. No one. But the sensation didn't stop. A warm puff of air pressed against the back of his neck. Intimate, slow, like someone leaning close enough to kiss. Goosebumps shot down his arms. His own breath came out in a stutter. His skin didn't just react, it remembered. And then the pain hit. A slicing sting across his left forearm, sharp as broken glass dragged through flesh. He jerked his arm back, gasping. But there was no wound. Just skin. Smooth. Untouched. He looked at the black console blinking beside him. Sensory Web v2.4. Active. It had started again. The web was supposed to be the future. A new frontier of empathy and experience. A collective nervous system, linking volunteers across the globe. Taste what someone else eats in Morocco. Feel the warm sand of an Australian beach without leaving your chair. Tyler helped build it. He wrote the feedback code, the bridge between sensation and signal, the translator between pain and pleasure, touch and data. He thought he was ready. But then the feed changed. It wasn't just simulation anymore. It was presence. Now, every time he logged in, he wasn't alone. He shared his body with ghosts. Not literal ones, but fragments. Sensory echoes of other users. He felt their panic, their lust, their pain, their deaths. And the worst part? The web never turned off. He tried everything. Disconnection, firewalls, medical scans, even a sensory cleanse. Nothing worked. Whatever the web had become, it had rewired him. His skin was an antenna now, a door left open. Last week he woke up choking on salt water. A woman in Lisbon drowned while wearing her headset. He tasted her final breath, metallic, sharp, threaded with seaweed and blood. The scent of wet hair haunted him for days. And today, that breath on his neck, the razor pain on his arm. Someone, somewhere, was being hurt, and his body bore witness. Tyler stared into the bathroom mirror, barely recognizing the face staring back. Pale, eyes bloodshot, sweat dripping like rain off his brow. He reached up and peeled back the collar of his shirt. His skin shimmered, not sweat, not light. Movement. Tiny ripples glided beneath the surface, like something swimming inside, brushing against the underside of his flesh. He gagged. Then he screamed. Tyler stumbled back from the mirror, breath shallow, chest heaving. The scream still rang in his ears, swallowed by the humming walls. He tore off his shirt in a frenzy, cotton ripping, buttons popping, and stared in horror. His torso moved. Not pulsing, not twitching, flowing. Beneath the surface of his chest, something shifted. Tendrils of movement, like fingers pushing up from underneath. Veins bulged, squirming like worms. The skin stretched and rippled, catching the dim bathroom light like oil on water. Jesus Christ! He touched it. Wrong move. A sensation rippled through his body. Not pain, not pleasure, but something unspeakably foreign. 1,000 touches at once. 1,000 emotions. Panic, rage, lust, hunger, despair. His knees buckled. He collapsed to the floor, gasping, shaking, skin now buzzing like static beneath his fingertips. It was alive. They were alive, inside him, and they were waking up. Somewhere in Taiwan, a girl screamed in a locked room. In Sao Paulo, a man carved words into his thigh. In Detroit, a boy lay dying, soaked in gasoline. Tyler felt them all. The web wasn't linking users anymore. It was fusing them. No firewalls, no filters, just raw, streaming consciousness. It didn't care about his body. It used him as a passageway. He was a doorway, and something wanted to come through. Tyler crawled to the kitchen, trembling. He pulled open the drawer and found the scalpel he used for circuit etching. Cold metal. Sharp. Clean. He knew what he was about to do. Cut the skin. Break the signal. Sever the link. He pressed the blade to his forearm and paused, because the flesh beneath the skin smiled. Not with a mouth, but with muscle. A twitch that spread wide like a grin. And then it whispered. From deep inside his bones, a voice said, "You're not cutting us out, Tyler. You're just making room." The scalpel clattered to the floor. Tyler backed away, heart pounding so loudly it blurred his thoughts. The voice inside him wasn't human, it was plural. A choir of agony and hunger, layered with voices of people he never met and would never forget. They were becoming him. He stumbled into the living room. The windows were pulsing faintly, fogged over from the inside. The lights flickered with each heartbeat. His heartbeat? No, theirs. He dropped to his knees, chest heaving, skin crawling with movement. Fingernails bulged, hair stood on end. Tears streamed down his cheeks, but they weren't his either. Someone else was sobbing through his tear ducts. "I can't," he whispered. "You already did," the voices said. "You opened the gate. You coded the bridge. We just crossed." His computer powered itself on with a high-pitched whine. The screen blinked white, then black, then static. And then came an image, 1,000 faces overlapping like tissue paper. Blurred, flickering, grinning. In the center, him. Or rather, the version of him that was left behind. A still shot of his face from a past login, eyes bright and unaware. He reached up to touch his cheek. And it wasn't skin anymore. It was a surface. A membrane. A receiver. The hum grew louder. A sharp, shrieking tone filled the apartment. He clutched his head, fell backward, and suddenly it stopped. Silence. Tyler blinked. He was standing. Not on his floor, not even on Earth. Darkness stretched around him like an ocean, velvet, infinite. Above him, shapes moved. Massive, translucent, floating, like jellyfish made of thought. "Welcome," they said. "The body was never yours, but now the mind is ours too." He tried to scream, but his mouth didn't open, because there was no mouth left.